Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast. If you're new to the channel, we talk about guitar stuff here. And this Tuesday thing is a podcast that we then upload to all the podcast things. And if you listen on the audio only podcast, sorry, we're a little behind uploading because we've been really busy. We'll tell you some stories here in a minute. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting thing. We're going to talk about liking more than one thing at once. This is something that guitar players have a problem with, and so we are going to discuss it. Before we get going today, there's a couple of little housekeeping things that I want to mention to you all. One, we don't really have sponsors, so go check out Dylan Talks Tone, because that is what we do. We make pickups. And so we're going to actually answer some pickup questions. If you have guitar questions, put them in the chat and with a bunch of question marks in front of them. Put a bunch of question marks in front of them. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to see them. Or you can use a super chat and I will see it because it pops up a different color. We'll drop what we're doing and we'll answer that question right away. That is a cool thing. Also, the other sponsor, for lack of a better word, to the folks in our, I put this in the wrong place. Hang on. The other folks that are sponsors in our of our channel is our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. Patreon.com/Dylan Talks Tone. Go sign up. It is $5 a month or something is the cheapest one. A couple of benefits right away that you get with that is 10% off everything that we make at DylanTalksTone.com. So if you buy a set of humbuckers, it'll cost you, it'll save you $30. If you sign up for a 1 month without, 1 month just to buy a set of pickups to get a discount, I don't care. That's cool. It's totally fine with me. But you're probably going to want to hang around because I'm trying to upload a video just about once a week over there that doesn't go on the YouTubes. Try to keep you up with some stuff that's going on. And also post some stuff that I actually can't post on YouTube. The other thing is one of the big benefits right now is, I don't know if you know this or not, but November of 2023 is the 10-year anniversary of DylanPickups.com. We've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm so grateful. It's so amazing. We came out with we are releasing next week a very limited edition special run pickup. It is a humbucker. It is a version of our DAFs, but if you are a Patreon member or a YouTube member, you are able to pre-order it now. The public will be shown this pickup on Monday. But you can order it now if you're a Patreon or a YouTube member. I'm not even going to tell you anything about it. You have to be a member to see it early. I will tell you that there are only 20 sets available, and they are about half gone already. So, to the pre-release folks that think they're really cool. So I think they're about half gone. So if you want to go ahead and get out on that action, you can do that as well. So, there you go. Let's see. One of the things I want to talk about before we get into the title thing is, did you see, and see if anybody asked me about it. I'm curious to see if anybody asked me about this today. No, not yet. A couple of things. First of all, one of the biggest questions that came out of yesterday's video about the Greenie Les Paul, which has over 10,000 views in 24 hours, which is pretty stinking gnarly. That's pretty cool. So thank you, everybody, for being interested in that video. One of the things that keeps coming up question-wise about that video is, why didn't I just flip the wires on the pickup instead of flip the magnet? The reason is because I wanted to keep it in kind of the spirit of the original Greenie, and most Gibson pickups do not have, and all PAFs really, do not have 4 wires. So you cannot switch the wires. Now you could, I suppose, if you wanted to, but the problem is then that would make the cover hot because it's grounded with that braid. So hang on one second. I'll show you. This is actually one of the special edition pickups, so I can't show you, but yeah. So I will hide it in my hand like this so you can't see it unless you're a Patreon member. But see, if you are to use this wire, then this is grounded to the case of the pickup, which means that you would make the pickup hot, the whole case of it hot. So you can't do that. If it's a 4-wire pickup, you can swap wires. But if it's a 2-wire one, you cannot. Or you shouldn't. I mean, I suppose anything is possible. You could do it if you wanted to, but it would make it to where it would buzz every time you touch the pickup, which is not optimal. So that's why we did it that way. Let's see. I'm telling you, if you have questions, put friggin' question marks in front of them. Recline. The only reason I saw this is because this is what I was actually looking for. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into our main topic today. Are you going to get the new Silver Sky and shoot it against the Roxy Pink? No, because they're not going to send me a guitar. I don't want to spend the money for that thing. I have 100% zero interest. The maximum amount of non-interest possible in a human being in anything Grateful Dead. I do not care at all. I cannot, I just will not, I will not. I just, it's just, yeah, I have zero, like the maximum amount of non-interest possible. So yeah, I will not be buying that guitar, or I will definitely not be buying it. If they sent me one, I would review it, but they probably wouldn't want me to because I would make fun of it. So yes, I think it's, yeah. Eric Luddinger, was it TTG using your opening yesterday? That's actually a YouTube setting. That's a YouTube setting, and anybody can pick from a whole long list. To tell you the truth, I stole it from Chris. Chris used it on a Sunday video that he edited, and I stole it from him. I actually texted him. I was like, how do you change it? I've been wanting to change them, and then that's when I started changing them. What do you think of certain people out there that claim that pickups essentially don't matter? If you're talking about Glenn Fricker, I think he's an idiot. That being said, I think he's really cool, and I would love to have him on the podcast. I think he's a little shock value with some of the stuff he does, so I don't I don't take him as seriously as everyone else does. I think there's a lot of people that just kind of fall in line with whatever they hear, and I think that's why he's so popular, because people just like, well, he must know what he's talking about. He's sitting in a studio and he's Glenn Fricker. So, what he says goes. The reason I disagree with him is because I do this for a living. Like I can give you measurements. I can tell you what's happening. It's very simple. It's very, very easy to see stuff. And you don't actually even have to A/B test anything. Some of this stuff is so obvious that it's not that hard. I could say all kinds of crazy things in videos to get people to watch it, but then I don't know. I lose interest with that type of content. So, what is the best way to store your guitar, on its side or flat? Now that is a great question. If I have the choice, I would put my cases on their butt ends in the closet against the wall on the ends like this. That's how I store mine. I do not store them flat because then they take up so much space, because I would not want to stack them more than like 2 or 3 high. And if you have, what do we have, like 26 guitars or something, then you would end up with stacking stuff. So I wouldn't stack cases. I definitely wouldn't stack acoustic guitars. I definitely wouldn't stack Telecaster, Stratocaster cases that are big and flat, because they don't have a lot of internal. Like Gibson cases you could probably stack because they're so stiff and they're smaller, but I wouldn't stack them this way. I would put them in like you put your clothes hangers in your closet. That's the way I would personally do it if I was in the situation that you're in, probably where you have enough where you have to worry about it. With 2 humbucker pickups, you use 1 volume pot, 3-way switch only on a guitar. I need help. Can you use 1 volume pot? Yeah. Yep. So what you'll do is you'll hook up your pickups to the switch. So the hots will go to the front end of the switch, and then the output will go to the volume, and then the output of the switch will go to the volume, and then the center of the volume will go to the output jack. That's a pretty easy one. Ever make your own humbucker base plate from flat stock instead of the manufactured ones? Yeah, I've used the phenolic stuff, like what Telecat, let's see, like what the bottom of a Stratocaster pickup is made of. I've used that stuff. Oh crap. Okay. Make sure I put that on the right shelf. All right. Well, let's get into this a little bit. So, you saw the thumbnail. First of all, you notice that this is the first time I'm going to talk about Slash and Marshall and Magnetone. And I'm glad, because everyone was wrong. Everybody was like, he left Marshall, and he came out with a statement and said he, is not leaving Marshall, that he is actually still working, has a good relationship with Marshall, and he is still, going to come out with a signature model of Magnetone, which I think is really cool. Is that a little confusing for guitar players? Yeah, because most guitar players prepare to be full offense. Everybody says no offense before they're going to offend you. So full offense, but most guitar players, for some reason, think it's impossible to like more than one thing at once, right? So either you're a Strat guy or a Tele guy or a Fender guy or a Gibson guy or a Kemper guy or an amp guy or whatever, like any of that stuff. And I think it's neat because, if I'm Slash, right? I've been playing the same 3 guitars or whatever, 5 really probably, since what, 1984, 6? I've had a guitar since 1989. I don't play it anymore because I kind of got tired of it. I don't play gear that I had a year ago. If Slash wants to explore some tones, I think he should be able to. Because he's not Guns N' Roses anymore. I mean, he is, because he tours with them. They do the Guns N' Roses thing, but he has so many other projects going. And why wouldn't you want more than one flavor? That's the whole thing about all this guitar stuff. Everybody wants to compare everything. And, well, I was thinking about it today. I was thinking about the whole, like, does this affect the tone? Does that affect the tone? Does this affect the tone? Yes. Why are you asking? Why are you asking? Because if this sounds like that and that sounds like that, why are you asking? What does it matter? Who cares? Because do you like that sound? And do you like that sound? Yes. why would you want them to be the same? Why does anybody require anybody to be like to fall in line like that? I don't get it. I don't get it. So it's an interesting thing. I don't understand why people are making a big deal out of it. Why can't he play more than one guitar? Why can't he play more? Now, one of the things it's possible that at the beginning that he may have had an exclusive deal. So what can happen with an artist is you can say, which I would never sign a 360 deal or an exclusive deal. I've had people actually come to me and want me to do that for advertising stuff or for product placement and stuff like that on the channel. And I've always told them no. So what can happen is you could say, hey, I could go to an artist and I could say, hey, I want you to exclusively play my pickups for 1 year. And then after that, and this is what we're going to pay you, and this is what we're going to pay you for the royalties on your signature model for the first year. And then it will drop off to non-exclusive, and then the royalties will drop down to X amount of percent per product, and this is what we're going to pay you to make these appearances, do this press and whatever with this product. And those rates may be lower because they're not exclusive anymore. So it's possible, and I don't know, but the early days, and we'll call them the early days, the early days of really big commercial music in the early and mid 80s were really bad about cheating these guys out of money. And so I'm not accusing Marshall, obviously, of cheating anyone out of money, but it was just the way the business was back then, where these artists kind of got taken for rides when it came to contracts and stuff. So I would be curious to know if he had, for a while, an exclusive contract, an exclusive endorsement with Marshall, and then that wore off after a while, more or less. I don't know. I'm totally speculating here, but I was kind of wondering if that might be why it took so long, because I'm genuinely surprised that it's been this long. He's been with them for 35 years exclusively. So it's interesting that it's taken this long. Most artists will not stay with a company for that long without at least exploring other stuff. There's very few artists who've been playing the same guitar and the same amp for that long. Somebody else comes to mind is Brian May. Brian May obviously plays this Red Special because it's his guitar, and he plays, now I don't know if he has an endorsement deal with them. Well, I guess he does because he has his own model. So, the AC, the Vox AC30, he's been playing that amp forever, and he only tours with a couple of them, and it's, so there's a few people out there that do it, but for the most part, I don't think anybody is super exclusive like that anymore. And so it's really no surprise, especially in this day and age, that he is not going to exclusively play the same thing. Now, are we going to see him go play a Strat or a PRS? I doubt it. But I bet that's more because of Gibson. It's because of what he loves. It's the guitars that he loves. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I'm glad that he's doing it. I would really, really like to see more guitar players take this as an example and be like, oh, you mean like I can like two things? I'm allowed to have an opinion about more than one thing at the same time? And if I express an opinion about a guitar, that means, for example, I just posted last night the other night, that the Breedlove was my favorite acoustic guitar ever in the whole wide world. And immediately somebody was like, I thought you liked the McPherson. I do. It's incredible. I love it. Absolutely love it. But if I'm going back to my roots and playing the types of guitars that I've played in the past, and going all the way back to the beginning of a Martin style rosewood back and sides, Martin kind of profile, spruce top, double bound, like a D28. It's not a Martin, but it takes me back there. With the ebony fretboard, like the whole, it takes me back there. I'm like, this is the guitar that does it for me. You know what I mean? I love this guitar. It's actually was in a case in the closet, and it's now in the living room next to my McPherson. And honestly, people change. You can like something today and like something different tomorrow, and it's okay. It's totally okay. Guitars are not a reflection of your being. Like, your gear is not a reflection of who you are as a person. Therefore, if you go from a Strat to a Tele, you're all of a sudden some sort of traitor. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever. Let's see if there's any other questions in here. My old man has a Breedlove, and it's one of my favorite acoustics. I would say make sure you spend money and get a good one. The Asian ones are They're good. They're great for entry-level instruments. I would buy an entry-level Breedlove, in like the $400 to $600 range, over just about anything else. But if you play one of those, do not compare it to the guitar that I have, because the guitar that I have is freaking unbelievable. I bought it instead of a D28. So, yeah. And it wasn't cheaper than a D28. It was about the same. But man, is it good. I want a D28 still. That's probably going to be next on my list. Possibly the ownership change at Marshall had an effect on the endorsement deal. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's probably just Slash being Slash. I don't think there's any reason to overthink it. I think it's Slash being like, well, this is really good. And you got to remember too, not Izzy Stradlin. Who's the other? No, it's the other guitar player in the Miles Kennedy band. Who's the other guitar player in the Miles Kennedy band that he's with? Anyway, he plays Magnetone. So they started, hanging out. He's doing what normal gear people do. And it's also possible that he really, 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 really likes Marshall. And it's been a long time since he heard anything that was good, that he liked. I mean, I get that. I totally get that. I don't think it has anything to do with, I think people overthink this kind of stuff. I think it's literally just a guy being a musician. Any thoughts on the Sun Amps revival? I don't know enough about it, but if it's just going to be a name rebrand from something that's made in China, I don't care about it. If it's an actual company in the United States making Sun Amps the way they were meant to be made, then maybe that would be cool. Or wherever they were made originally. I don't remember. And that's not to say that I don't care about foreign made guitars, because I'm not one of those people that has to be made in the United States to be a good guitar. I'm not one of those people. But what I kind of automatically dismiss a little bit is when a brand mark gets bought by a holding company and then starts to be made in some Chinese factory just to have the brand name on it. Silvertone is an example of that that's happening right now. They're very cheap and they're really cool, but they just don't blow my hair back because I just know that that's what they are. They're just like it's not really a Silvertone. It's just kind of a Chinese junk guitar, which is what Silvertones were in the first place, actually, but they were made here, with somebody else's label on it. Like it's almost like a private labeled thing. I don't know. I don't like that. I'm not saying I don't like it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't buy one, any of that. It just doesn't grab me. I'm not a person to just be like, that's not something I want to have just because it exists. You know what I mean? The same thing. That's kind of why I don't own a Dan Electro, actually. Because I think Dan Electros are neat, and I think they have a particular place. But the guitar is just kind of, I just know it's not the real thing. And if you haven't figured that out by now, I kind of like the real thing. I don't like knockoffs. If there's a way, in my opinion, this is just my 100% my opinion and how I live my life. Okay. Sometimes in a situation where the product makes zero difference to me, I will buy a knockoff product because the impact that this product has on my life is so minimal that spending the extra money on the brand name product doesn't make a difference to me. If I'm trying to think of an example of that. Okay. Some of it is like, some of these like little Amazon camera fixtures and stuff. Like you can buy like, I don't know, let's see. Oh, this colored light over here. It's, it's not expensive. And these desk lights aren't expensive, but they don't have to be Philips. They don't have to be like, whatever that big light back there, the one I use my main light for studio stuff, that is brand name. And that thing is expensive. And that thing is worth it. And if I were to buy a cheap one, it would not be as good. So, it has more of an impact on my final product. So I care. Stuff that doesn't have a huge impact on my life, I don't care as much. Otherwise, I want the real thing. I don't want a knockoff. I don't see the reason. And I'm not as you are aware, watching this channel for a while, I'm not a just as good as person. If something costs $50 and the other thing costs $100, there has to be a reason. There is always a reason. It's not to say that the $50 thing will not function properly or will not get you most of the way there. But if you are a discerning consumer, like I am, who reads ingredients on packages, who understands how things are made, who looks at manufacturing processes, who looks at sourcing of materials, who looks at all that kind of stuff, then the very thing that what I do, if this thing is $50 and that thing is $100, I'm like, there's a difference here. I'm going to find it. If the difference between the two things is not that important to me, then maybe I'll buy the $50 thing that's the fake. But most of the time I'll find an appreciable enough difference that means that I just want the real thing. And if it means that I have to scrimp somewhere else to make sure that I get the real thing, like a real Les Paul, then I will do it. It's just kind of, I don't know. I'm pretty principled about that stuff. When it comes to that, I like the real thing. Let's see. The new Sun amps sound like they will be made in the US. They're using old designs for nearly exact reissues. That's pretty cool. That would be cool. I would be interested to see that. Do I want that? I don't know, but I think that might be neat. Yeah, I think that might be neat. Let's see. Oh, there you go. It's Richard Fortus. So I knew it was a bandmate, but I couldn't remember which band it was from. I apologize for being wrong about that. But yes, you're right. Richard Fortus. Let's see. Bibster. What's up, man? By the way, how you doing? He was saying it's the same in the car business where car industry where people only like the one thing and just bash other brands just for the point of it. You know, it's funny. I used to be like that. I used to be like that when I was younger. And I think now I'm just at the point where I'm like, I want to try all the things. Not in a sense of greedy, like I have to have one of everything. Not like that. But like, I want to know how it works. I want to know if it's good. I want to know why it exists. I don't know why it exists. Some stuff I don't care. Like I'm a Canon person, but I have been a Sony person. I've switched. I shot Sony before. Now I shoot Canon. I have been a Mac person since 2005. And then I went back to a PC from 2019 to 2021. And then went back to Mac. Have nothing bad to say about either one. I don't, it's cool. I went to an Android phone for about 2 years. Had a Samsung G, whatever the fancy one was at the time. Yeah, I just don't, I'm not super idealistic about that stuff. I want to try the things. I want to know. And I was really like, I want to know what this Android thing is. Everybody says something about this Android stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I got one and it was fine. It was great. It was really cool. It didn't have AirDrop. Drove me insane. So I went back to Mac and I got another MacBook Pro and I got, all the Apple things once you're in the thing. But yeah, I mean, but it doesn't, I'm not going to say that PCs are bad. Leslie has a PC. Actually, she has a Mac too for personal stuff, but she has a PC for work. And, life dictates that you have to be flexible. And I think sometimes and when we're playing music and it's a hobby, you have a lot more choice because you can just play what you like. But I think being flexible in here is still really important. I mean, I think it is. Let's see. Can I email you after the show? You can, but I'm not going to get it until tomorrow. As soon as I get done with this, I'm slammed for the rest of the night doing some non-guitar related things as soon as I get. Curtis Deadman, what is the dead spec PRS? Did somebody else ask about the dead spec PRS? Sorry, I must have missed that question. The dead spec PRS is it's the Silver Sky that John Mayer is playing on the Grateful Dead tour stuff, or the Dead, whatever the leftover Grateful Dead tour, whatever they're calling it. Anyway. Yeah. It's just a Silver Sky with an Alembic preamp stuck in it with a stupid jack, by the way. It's PRS. Why didn't they do something fancy? With like a string through body bridge with a brass block on it, but it's a hardtail, which is weird. Mr. Tonewood. So it's Swamp Ash. It's got a bunch of brass and crap in it. I don't know. It just sounds like a weird Strat. That's what it sounds like. Which is, makes sense. Make weird music. Let's see. What else we got going? And for those of you that are just getting here, don't forget that our 10th anniversary pickup. There's only 20 sets. They're about half gone, and they're on pre-sale for Patreon and YouTube members. And they will come out to the rest of the world on Monday, which is pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just scanning back through here, seeing if there's any other questions, but I don't see any. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot today because, well, to be honest, I was really busy with other stuff. I've been working on, pickups. You can't see the rest of the baker's rack over here. Get that out of the shot. You can't see the rest of the baker's rack over here, but it's full. There's pickups from top to bottom in there, and we've got, I think 15 more P90s to make tomorrow. We shipped 27 yesterday. And then we shipped a bunch of single coil stuff. I'm kind of doing things in batches. So today we shipped a bunch of tele stuff. If you've been waiting on like a 3-way switch assembly or a 4-way switch assembly or anything like that, a bunch of that stuff's shipped today. Everything that was on order shipped today of the switches stuff. I sat here and soldered a bunch of stuff last night. And then today we made a bunch of tele stuff, actually. Shipped a bunch of tele stuff today. So, and then tomorrow is going to be assembling a bunch of P90s and winding a bunch of humbuckers. So, yeah, I'm trying to stay caught up because I know that once this pre-order is over, we're going to have, 20 sets of special edition pickups to make, humbuckers to make. Let's see. Somebody gifted you a membership? That's pretty cool, Hat Mike. You can do that. Yeah, you can actually gift people Patreon, I think, and YouTube memberships. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Oh, and Johnny Love, you got your guitar, so that's cool. Very cool. Let's see. 1 volume, 1 tone. Cool. All right. Well, it looks like we're pretty caught up. Yeah, man. Yeah, so it's been good. We've been really busy. We got a lot of stuff going. And, yeah. So, I guess if that's that, I don't mind, to tell you the truth, because of what I've got going today, I don't mind ending a couple of minutes early today. You guys have been awesome. I'm hoping to have another video on Friday, a separate video on Friday. And then we've got another video coming out on Monday. I will tell you that I just got an email a few minutes ago. Let me see if he emailed me again. Let's see if he emailed me again. Shipping notification from Gibson, USA. Wonder what that could be. That might be exciting. Cool. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. And we will see you probably Thursday.